Okay, another day, no warm-up music. Let's jump right into it. We got to get wrenching. We got to drop that cross member. We got to start putting new suspension components in. I don't know about you guys, but for some reason, I am deathly afraid of taking a car apart and not putting it immediately right back together. For some reason. I don't know why. That blue footage from yesterday, dude, that TE moving. Hey, you're on time, Kappa. Yeah. Yeah. I ended up going and helping the uncle, take apart some stuff and fix a couple of things. So, yeah. Hey, 2 hours behind schedule considering the ever closing window of opportunity to finish the dang car is, yeah, not bad. So, Jacob, just stopping in to drop my props up and say rip to KSP2. Those KSP2 streams were awesome. And what got me hooked on your stream, thanks, man, never stop educating the masses. I'm trying, dude. I'm trying. I'm glad you like the KSP streams, dude. Yeah. It's still a sore spot. I don't want to talk about it. It's still a sore spot. Anyway. I've been kicking your butt lately. I don't know about you, man. It is a major pet peeve of mine to not waste people's time. So, like, I die a little inside every time I'm late for a stream. Like, I'm just like, you know. But, yeah. Did you see the new Glen engine section in the background as well? It's on the first stage test stand, which would likely be used for cryo. Cool. Will there be a space news later? Unlikely, Creeper. Unlikely. Yeah, exactly. So I don't do big stuff since I have to work outside. I don't want to leave pieces outside. Yeah, I'm with you. Has there been any news about KSP2? Nothing but radio silence. Officially, unofficially, all the people that work there that I know don't work there anymore. Yep. Seems like the hold down points on the Wish.com Falcon 9 booster sheared off. Yeah, I saw those pictures. Yep. I don't want to talk about KSP2. It is a very sore spot. I will get angry. And I don't feel like being angry today. Was channeled that day rage, Anyway. 9 days and we get another major cities patch. Adds a lot of building zonable roundabout surface tools, more free tools, but the tile upkeep is still there. Sneaky, people were telling me you can disable tile upkeep in the options. If you could do that, I'll give cities another chance. Yeah. They even used the leg points to hold it down. Those dang bolts connecting to the plate sheared off. Crazy. Yeah, looks like they need to learn how to TIG weld a little bit better. That shows major misunderstanding of the structural analysis, fellas. Like, that is not we iterated on this design and it screwed up. That is a major misunderstanding of structures. Like, what happened with that rocket with, what is it, Tianlong 3? What happened with that rocket is so ridiculously bad. Like, every red flag in my book for, like, the mystical book up here for how you should engineer a rocket is going off. Looking at the test flight footage, and looking at that picture of the hold down stand, I'm like, there is so much wrong with that thing. It's kind of shocking. Like, bro, that's a Kerbal mistake. But you're actually flying rockets. That is a Kerbal mistake. Like, that's the kind of stuff I did when I was figuring out the dynamics and structural analysis associated with rocketry when I was trying to figure it out in game. That problem is so ridiculously bad. Like, I don't have the words. That shows a major misunderstanding of structures. That shows a catastrophically bad programmatic structure for that rocket program. Like, I don't know if it's Go Fever, because we're never going to know, right? Because China's like, Oh, Sebi, it didn't shear off the hold downs. The hold downs worked just fine. The attachment mechanisms on the rocket decided to stay GSE, and the rocket ripped itself off of its own launch mounts and then started flying, which is with no flight termination system. That is just in a populated area, might I add. Dude, that's Kerbal. That's Kerbal. Like, that is a Kerbal player's mistake. I don't give a frick if it's China, and I understand they're learning. I get it. This is a private venture. I don't know the state of the aerospace industry over there. I don't really care. Like, I mean, I do, but like you drop rockets on people. Rockets that go up, come down, and blow up in populated areas are called missiles. They have a word for those. I don't shine any light over there on purpose. But this test is so egregiously bad. It's such a blatant disregard, not even of safety. Like if you just want to take the fact that they're doing this in populated areas, just kind of remove that for a second. From a programmatic standpoint, it's catastrophically bad. From an engineering standpoint, it's catastrophically bad. For a program's standpoint, like, dude, the red flags are so bad here. Like, if I was in charge of this, I would just leave. Like, the people working on that should not be doing space stuff. Like, you guys remember that weird company, I forget, Python or whatever, that like it was a bunch of people like making explosives out in the desert saying that they're going to make rockets, under the guise of rockets should be accessible for everybody. It's worse than that. Worse than that. That is single-handedly like one of the worst problems I've ever seen. But then again, SpaceX not having their flight termination system working correctly on flight 2? Also, or flight 1, also catastrophically bad. Like, I would say this is worse, because at least where Starship was flying, it was over unpopulated areas. It was out in the ocean. Yeah, exactly, Hellfish. That it's not even funny. Like, it's not funny. That it is so egregiously bad. Like, what happened there demonstrates a catastrophic, fundamental misunderstanding of physics. And let's be real. If you don't understand how physics works, you're not going to be able to rock it very well. Sorry. No YouTube? Oh. Yeah, I could fire that up if you want. Dude, I can't even think of I'm usually good at thinking of an analogy or something. I have no words. There's no analogy to describe this. This is just horrible. At my job, I deal with manufacturing machines made in China. Amazing that they can copy and build stuff, but the lack of actual understanding is clearly not there. Stuff like mounting things backwards that even a novice could clearly see. Electron, I'm not trying to sound like a prick, but yeah, that's right. There's just a fundamental misunderstanding here. Like, just because you can copy stuff doesn't mean, like, okay. I've talked about this before. China appears to be able to copy things very, very, very well, but they're really not. It really seems to be more about copying it and making a lot of money off of a copy rather than try to push the boundaries. Now, don't get me wrong. We do see boundaries being pushed with the Chang'e landers and stuff. The sample return, like, that's the stuff where we see, some pretty awesome innovation. But even then, those are most of that stuff is based off of ex-Soviet designs. Like, I do not see much elaboration in engineering from them. Like, I just don't. I can now confirm that there's no vanilla way to disable tile upkeep in either of the main settings or the new game settings outside of unlock all map tiles. There's a way to change it to any value between 0 and 100% with the mod 529 tiles, but that's about it. Okay. The directors of the space program might soon be facing the Great Wall. Um, yeah, you know, you can copy, but you have to understand. Yeah, Sevi, that's the right way to put it. Copying stuff is just fine. Understanding how it works is the hard part. And understanding how it works, you know, unfortunately, is basically the difference between playing Kerbal and screwing around in KSP and building like an actual rocket. Like, you have to understand what you made. That is the biggest thing. Anybody can make something like SLS. Understanding how SLS works and backing it up with math is very, very difficult. Or Starship, for that matter, you know? Like, you know, it's, yeah, that failure is so egregiously bad. It's not funny. It's, yeah, Stoke had that amazing test fire. That's pretty awesome. Firefly scrubbed again. I'm just looking through all the... Yeah, the Japanese know how to elaborate and make their own things, Tessa. And yeah, it's just assimilating and copying the tech is just Borg. That's just Borg stuff. You're like, and I'm not trying to say this to sound like a prick, but until I see some elaboration, I just kind of don't care. There's there's a blatant disregard for human rights here. There's you know, like dropping stages in villages and towns, like, so that tells me that you don't care, like, about launching this stuff and having it potentially come down in a populated area and killing people. It shows an egregious violation of safety. And I'm saying that's as somebody that's pretty laissez-faire about safety. I think that, you know, not everybody, you don't need to have like 30 OSHA meetings just to lift one, like have a crane operator lift one thing up in the air. Like even for me, that's pretty bad. And once again, you're just, all we see is just duplication of where the Soviets were going. Like, that's one thing that I always admired about the Soviet space program. And the Soviets elaborated. They were able to, like, take Buran, for instance. Buran, they were able to make it land. They could make it land from space with nobody on board. We couldn't do that. The shuttle could have been retrofitted to do it, but it wasn't a stakeholder expectation for that vehicle. They did that. Not to mention the launch vehicle that Buran was attached to is one of the, like, pinnacles of human engineering. And I'm saying that as somebody that doesn't really like, you know, Soviet ideology, which is funny because we play workers, but yeah, exactly. There's no material science understanding all systems. It's just, well, let's just make it, whatever. But yeah, that's something I always admired. That's why I teach people about the Soviet space program and the history behind it, because there is elaboration. Sergei Korolev had a fundamental understanding about rocketry, just like von Braun did. And both of them, we saw elaboration. Von Braun's work is based, and Korolev's work is based off of von Braun's work, and von Braun's work is based off of an American, Robert Goddard's work. Each time, each person, no matter what the country, raises the bar. You know, Goddard's work is based off of Konstantin Tsiolkovsky's math, a Polish expat that lived in the woods in Russia. And, you know, Tsiolkovsky's work is based off of Newton and Kepler, right? The point is, each time we see elaboration, we don't see that. You don't see that at all. There's no Korolev or no von Braun type in China, and I think that's kind of inherent to how they do things over there, but that's another story. The dropping stages on people is going to end in the coming decade as they shift over to Wenchang with the class of rockets that launch out of Xichang. They're also replacing all hypergolic rockets with Karolox ones. Great. Good. I mean, Thomas said, I don't know if you're saying that matter of factly or what, but the truth of the matter is like, great, okay, you're at least kind of conscious of the safety risks involved here. And once again, I'm pretty laissez-faire about safety. If you have to understand what you're getting into, and as long as you understand what you're getting into, you can do dumb things if you really want, but that's the problem here. There's not consent to the dummetry. Dummetry. That's your new word of the day. You know? That's fine. You know, so you know, you're not gonna be rewarded just because you take safety relatively serious, like just as serious as everybody else. Like there's still other blatant, egregious things going on here. Dumber tree. Yep. Anyway. Anyway. What's on today's agenda? We're gonna go out and wrench. Guys, hold on real quick. Last thing. Look at this thing that popped up in my feed. Wingo posted this. Ground control, an argument for the end of human space exploration. Hold on a second. In the 1960s and 70s, America spent 24 billion, around 150 billion in today's dollars, to land humans on the moon and win the space race. And while humans took their first steps on an extraterrestrial landscape, protesters at Cape Canaveral asked, why waste money on space when there are so many issues here on Earth? Oh, God, I'm losing brain cells just reading this. Anyway, more than 50 years later, an oligopoly of commercial space companies, SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic, has begun sending civilians into space. These civilians are the first generation of what will undoubtedly be an extensive family of space tourists. Commercial space companies aim to expand access to space, find new sources of energy, mine outer space resources, and conquer extraterrestrial lands, but their goals remain that of a capitalist and imperialist class. Intent on new frontier profiteering. Oh, this is awesome. No, I gotta keep reading. This is great. This is great. This is good. Savannah Mandel uses cultural anthropology. Yep. To trace the trajectory of the space industry as it faces the social, political, and economic repercussions of commercial space ventures head on. In doing so, Mandel holds the space industry accountable for its actions by asking the same questions that some thought leaders asked in the 1960s. Should we go? Is it worth it to send humans into space? What cultural outcomes will result from the continued human space exploration and colonization of other worlds? And last, what can we learn about our present selves by studying our most extreme versions of the future? Oh my God, dude! Wait! Yo, here's the funny part. You want to see the funny part? Look! Their goals remain that of a capitalist and imperialist class. Hey, Hey, lady, I got a question. I got a question. Who was that space race against? That whole space race that you summarized in the first sentence of your pitch here. Who are we racing that against? It certainly wasn't capitalists. Interesting dichotomy. If the goals of the space race were of a capitalist and imperialist class, what the hell was the goal of the people we were racing against? Pretty sure it wasn't capitalism. Pretty damn sure it wasn't that. Like, I'm pretty damn sure it was not that. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah. And then also, yeah, pretty dang sure that expanding into space is not something that's just in the realm of capitalists. There was that whole capitalism. There was that whole Cold War thing. So great, your pitch initially is fundamentally flawed. That's lovely. Yep. Okay. Great. Good. Cultural anthropology to trace the trajectory of the space industry as it faces the societal, political, and economic repercussions of commercial space ventures head on. What does that even mean? I'm really confused. In doing so, Mendel holds the space industry accountable for its actions by asking the same questions that some thought leaders asked in the 1960s. Some thought leaders, yeah, like one or two people. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, no, Tessa, sure. I don't know if you want to huff the dumb. You might lose some brain cells. I think I would lose less brain cells by doing whippets. Not gonna lie to you. So let's just sum this up. TLDR, let's just sum this up. Should we go? Yes. Is it worth it to send humans into space? Yes. What cultural outcomes will result from continued human space exploration and colonization of other worlds? You can't answer that question unless you go. And anybody that thinks they can answer that question unless we go is a moron. And last, what can we learn about our present selves by studying our most extreme versions of the future? I don't know. The future is not written. So a thought exercise, a conditional hypothetical, studying most extreme versions of the future is about as good of a conclusion as going to a fortune teller and asking what your fortune is and what your future is. No one knows the future. You have to forge the path yourself. Trying to compare yourself to a conditional hypothetical of an extreme version of the future is probably the stupidest thing that you could do. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you should go watch Back to the Future. If you watch the trilogy, you kind of learn that that's pretty much the whole premise of the entire story. Or Terminator. I don't know. Pick your sci-fi. Also, one last thing real quick. Sorry, I just felt the need to pick this thing apart. Also, one last thing real quick. Yeah, okay. So, a few people were saying why waste money on space when there's so many issues here on Earth. I'm pretty sure we stopped going further into space and then started trying to fix problems down here on Earth. And 50 years later, a half century later, are those problems fixed yet? No, they're not. No, absolutely not. So that tells me that cultural problems are going to be always present. It's part of the human condition. Problems 50 years ago aren't the problems of today. Does that mean today's problems are overshadowed by problems from 50 years ago? No. We have problems down here on Earth. We have problems up in space. We can do both of those things. Holy crap. Dude. Fixing humans is the problem. So Journey, yeah, exactly. How can you sit here and think that the conclusions drawn in this book are anything but complete conformity to an ideology? That's ridiculous. Oh. Cool. All right, sweet. I've lost enough brain cells for the day. Let's go try to gain some back by working on a car. Ooh, sun's out today. I just don't get it. Did she write anything else? I don't care. All systems, opinion immediately disregarded. Yeah, immediately. Almost immediately. Your pitch has like 6 flaws in it that anybody that knows even one iota about the space program would be able to be like, Sun's out, guns out. There we go. Can you sum up the progress on the car? We got to get the crossmember out. Then once the crossmember's out, we start cleaning things, and we got to put the new crossmember back in. We got to undo those brake lines. Anyway, you've probably addressed this, but I missed it. What do you think of the Starliner at the space station? Will it return with humans on board? Yes, BJ. The dude, and I'm not saying this because this is what I think. I'm saying this because this is what NASA is saying. This is what they've been saying in the press conferences. This is what they've been saying the entire time. The capsule is fine. It's fine. It's leaking helium. It's not leaking helium right now because when it's attached to the ISS, you do not need to use the thrusters that leak helium. Okay? They shut the thruster system off when it's near the ISS. You don't need something outgassing on a scientific component near the ISS. So the capsule is basically being powered by the ISS. So its service module is basically deactivated. It's not leaking helium right now. When they go to turn it back on, will it leak helium? Yes. Are there leaks that were encountered on the uphill ride? Yes. There are more leaks than previously thought. That happens when you've put yourself on a vehicle that has the characteristic energy of accelerating you to 17,500 miles an hour. Stuff might shake apart. It happens. It does happen. And we're talking about like maybe a micron tolerance difference here. Do helium leaks happen on spacecraft? Yes, every spacecraft leaks helium. It's so small and it's really easy. It likes to squeeze past seals, so it's hard to deal with it as a pressurant. But we still do because the benefits of the low mass of helium outweigh the leaks. With that being said, when they turn the capsule back on and they go to leave, what's going to happen? They're going to turn it on. It will leak. Absolutely. Spacecraft carry enough helium on board to deal with this problem. They can handle 4 to 5 leaks easy. They could handle 20 of them. That's the margin we're talking about because aerospace engineers know that helium leaks. Every spacecraft leaks helium. The shuttle did. Orion does. Dragon does. Dragon, yes. Dragon. We just don't hear about it because it's such an accepted thing. The problem that people are the problem that people are making a mountain out of a molehill about is, they're like, oh, helium leaks, the thrusters won't work. That's like saying a bilge pump is going to make a bilge in a ship filling up with water is going to make a ship sink. No, it will not make it sink. All ships take on water, and that water pools in the bilge and the very bottom of the ship, and you have to pump it out. It's something that happens. It's physics. You can't beat physics. Sorry, you can't. Believe me, we're trying. You can't beat physics. Simple as that. So, the helium leaks are there. Are there more helium leaks encountered than when it launched? Yes. Is it completely within tolerance for the capsule? Yes. Now, BJ, bear with me here. I'm going to talk to you kind of straightforward. I know I got the crazy eyes. I get it, right? Bear with me here. Now, okay, just tell me in plain English, what's going to happen with Starliner when they deorbit it? Assuming ideal conditions, what's going to happen? It's time to turn the gears, dude. I know it's the day before 4th of July, and if you're not American, then it's, hey, happy Wednesday, all right? Take the gears. So what happens? They're gonna disconnect the capsule. They're gonna turn the thrusters on. Thrusters are gonna leak a little bit. It's well within tolerance. What happens after that? Capsule goes down to a lower orbit. Capsule does the deorbit burn, and then what? They jettison the service module. It's disposable, right? It's disposable. Starliner has a disposable module, like the Apollo capsule does, right? Right? It's really hard for NASA to study and understand the behavior of a service module that's encountering leaks when it doesn't exist anymore. It'll burn up in the atmosphere. So NASA made a decision. They made this decision basically when the capsule got up there. Hey, is the capsule good enough to stay up there for a couple extra weeks? so we can study the service module and understand these helium leaks. Why are they happening? Maybe we could fix it. Yeah, keep the capsule up there for the batteries are charged enough for it to be able to stay up there for at least a month, because that was the margin put in. It's called operational mission flexibility, and it's something that the ISS logistics chain has to deal with constantly. There are delays. Stuff happens. Sometimes rockets carrying supplies blow up. It does happen. It's rare, but it happens. But they take that into account. So there's a certain robustness and flexibility built into ISS logistics, including test flights, for this exact reason. You notice that nothing else is going up to the ISS right now. They did that on purpose. They left a lot of leeway in for Starliner on purpose, just in case something like this happened. It is a test flight after all. All NASA is doing is studying the telemetry and studying the hardware on that service module well they can. Because it exists right now. It's easy to try. It's easier to figure out, what's going wrong with your car when the car is in front of you. Right? Physically in one piece. Because guess what? They bring Butch and Sonny back down. No more service module. Now those helium leaks are going to be harder to figure out. That's why they're delaying. That's it. It's literally nothing more than that. I can say with 99% confidence that every news article saying they're stranded is basically wrong. Completely wrong. Completely wrong. Completely ignorant to spacecraft operations, ISS logistics, how all that works. They just want a story. That's it. I'm 99% sure. That's what's going on. I could say that with the utmost confidence. Yeah. With the presented information. Now, keep in mind, I'm not NASA. I don't know. I'm only going off what I know, the very little I know about engineering systems design and what I hear from them. So any news article that you see that says astronauts stranded in space, that is just trying to get your attention. That's all. That's it. And that, guys, I'm going to get on the soapbox here for a second. Let that be a lesson to you. Okay? The news is trying to get your attention. They're trying to get your attention because they want viewers, just like any streamer would. Take it from me. I'm pretty good at communications. Pretty damn good at it. They're trying to get your attention. Don't fall for it. Don't get me wrong. This isn't some crazy conspiracy. There's not like, the news is in cahoot. They are trying to get your attention constantly. They're trying to get you to watch and click and watch some more. Watch time is king with media. Ask me how I know. It's not some crazy conspiracy. The news is trying to get your attention so you pay attention to them more because they want your views and they want your money. This is not complicated. Helium gaslighting. I see what you did there. How do you know? I've only been in the streaming and communications world, ESCOM, for a decade. I've been doing this since 2012, man. It ain't no secret to me. To survive in this business, you got to have a hook. You have to have something that gets people's attention. You have to. Now, what I do is I let my work speak for itself. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, I'm cool with that. Some media organizations and content creators are not cool with that. They want your attention all the time and will do whatever they need to do to get your attention all the time. I don't roll like that. That's not how I roll. You don't like the stream? Leave. I don't care. Doesn't bother me. Just keep that in mind. If they're willing to tell an egregious lie about spaceflight to get your attention, does that tell me that they lie about everything? No, probably not. It's not some crazy conspiracy. That tells me that they're willing to bend the truth to get your attention. I see people talk about this. People think it's some kind of crazy conspiracy. It's not. They want your watch time so they make more money. It's not rocket science. Believe me. I know rocket science pretty good. I don't know who you talking about. Marrakesh, 51-month resub. Don't get caught up in it, dudes. Seriously. And then believe me, with what's going on with politics, it's an election year. They're trying to get your attention really hard. Don't fall for it. Sit there and think about it for a second. Is NASA really that stupid to, especially in the face of Challenger and Columbia, which guess what, guys? The same people that work on the ISS and commercial crew are the same people that were sitting on console when Columbia exploded. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't make that same mistake twice, especially after looking 7 families in the face and telling them that, you know, their loved ones aren't coming home. I'm pretty damn sure if we're going to go right for the jugular, get down to brass tacks, that they have the benefit of the doubt here. Yeah. NASA won't make that mistake again. Columbia was very recent. It was 20 years ago. 21 years ago. I get it. Still, guys, same people still working at NASA. They won't make that mistake again. They would not put astronauts in danger like that. I can guarantee you that. I need a new chair. The one to the left of you. Oh, that Herman Miller's sweet, dude. So you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. NASA's been doing this for 20 years since ISS operations. People routinely to the ISS with Soyuz capsules and then Dragon and now Starliner, and you've never heard of something like this happening, huh? You never heard of it. So think about it. Give the benefit of the doubt. Now, they wouldn't do that because they wouldn't. They wouldn't. I can give you 7 really good reasons why they wouldn't. Actually, 14 if you really want to know. Some people have been working at NASA that long. It's just Starliner stuff, Shaw. China would. Well, there's a reason why I don't give their space program a lot of attention, Foz, because disregard for human rights is not something I want to be a part of. Yeah, I don't want it. I don't want to be a part. Maybe in the video game as a joke in workers, but not something I want to associate with. Anyway. Yeah, last thought, time to wrench. Let's go. Stand by for loss of signal from the office, as expected. Apparently, JPL Repo was hired by RocketWorks. Yeah. Yeah, I know, Thomas. Yeah, I know. Thomas, I'm not about to toot my horn, right? But I may have had something to do with that. May or may not. We don't know. You'll probably never know. Or will you? Seriously, I can't say much right now. We'll talk later. Let's just say that meeting yesterday was very productive. Okay? But... Okay? Shh. So, after an extra month on board with extra people and the nearest supermarket being 200 miles away, is there any nice food left? ESCOM, yeah, of course there's food. That's what I mean about ISS logistics. Say they don't just replenish the pantry, all right? Say the ISS has a proverbial pantry full of food, all right? And say, you know, if that pantry is at 100%, if it's completely stuffed full of food and water, right? On the ISS, that is enough to feed 7 crew for 6 months. Well, guess what? The ISS has another pantry right next to it. They can stretch. The logistics chain for the ISS is very flexible. It's very flexible because there's weather delays. There's production. There's ground side logistics delays. This stuff happens. There's test flights that need to be conducted so you can have more avenues to have more flexibility in ISS support operations. They plan for this stuff. Guys, they haven't, if there was no spacecraft going to the ISS for the next year, they would have enough food and water. They do this on purpose for this exact reason. Believe me, there are people that make way more money than you and me that NASA's hired that work in Houston, right? That are paid a lot of money to think about this exact stuff. Yeah, ESCOM, basically, they have a redundant kitchen. They have a redundant pantry. There's enough food and water on there for a year. that is entirely done on purpose for this exact reason. But is the toilet working? Well, it should be. Should be. The valve. It wasn't the toilet that was broken, Katra. It was the plumbing that was broken. So the toilet still worked, but the plumbing didn't work. There are contingencies everywhere. Guys, I think maybe we should do a spotlight on the Herculean effort that Russia and the US, and then Europe and Japan go through to keep this station going. It is nothing short of a Herculean effort. The ISS is a $1 billion program. It's right up there with SLS, but capability is invaluable. The capability is invaluable, and I wish NASA would look at other projects this way. You can't sit there and make the argument that the ISS is too expensive, because what the hell are you comparing it to? The other international space station that's up there? China's International Space Station? I'm pretty sure they ain't going to tell you how much that thing costs. What are you comparing it to? There's no other station like this. You can't compare it to anything else. It's that whole, oh, it's too expensive bull crap that we run into. Too expensive implies that there's something to compare it to. People use this freaking argument all the time. Actually, in the favor of what we were talking about. That lady cited $24 billion, $150 billion. Congratulations, you used a basic inflation calculator to write a book about how spaceflight is too expensive. Thank you. Thank you for that one. I really appreciate it. You can calculate inflation. You probably can't even calculate inflation. Like I said, you probably used a calculator to do it on the internet. 10-second Google search, okay? Right? You can't make the argument that a rocket that goes to the moon is too expensive when there's nothing to compare it to. In that regard, I think people do compare SLS to Starship, right? And I think that's fair. But even then, you still have to understand that NASA has to tell you how much this thing costs. They have to tell people how much it costs, and you're seeing the total cost involved. It's not just how much does a rocket stack, an SLS stack, costs. It's how much does everything needed, including all the people hired to work on this rocket, how much does all that cost as well as keeping the lights on at Michoud, keeping the lights on at Stennis, keeping the lights on in the VAB, keeping the lights on the pad. Guys, the cost of SLS, mowing the grass at 39B is included in that price tag for SLS. Not a lot of people know that. It's total cost involved. It's called TCI. It comes from economics, and it's pretty smart. What's your total cost involved, right? We don't get TCI from SpaceX. We get a per unit price tag. You can't compare TCI to unit price. That's stupid. That's like comparing a decimal point to a fraction. They could be the same thing, but they're absolutely not the same thing. You can't compare 7/16 to 0.5. That's not how that works at all. TCI also makes good transmissions. Yeah, good point, Hellfish. I really hope we get a shot like that, but with Starship docked to the ISS. SpaceX does have the contract, Blue. You never know. And the contract stipulations are clearly variable. It's a variable contract form because the press release said that the deorbit contract is valued up to $840 million. Does that mean that SpaceX is going to do something that costs $850 million to go and get it? Well, if HLS is any indicator of how SpaceX bids for contracts, no. For instance, SpaceX bid $2 billion on HLS, knowing that NASA put in a stipulation that they could match price for price internal funding to the bid. Meaning, if they bid $2 billion on HLS, SpaceX could also provide up to $2 billion on their bid to fund Starship of their own money as long as they got the contract, and NASA went for it. Does that mean Starship HLS costs $2 billion? Absolutely freaking not. You'd be off your gourd to think that SpaceX has somehow spent less money for Starship than NASA has spent for SLS. There's no way. SpaceX had to build all the facilities down in Boca Chica. They had to build all the facilities at Roberts Road. This stuff isn't cheap. Even if you're a private company, it's still not cheap. To think that Starship is somehow cheaper because SpaceX tells you that it's cheaper is ridiculous. If you compare TCI to TCI, I bet you it matches completely. I bet you it's right in line. They're right on the bell curve for a scope this big, with like Apollo or even SLS at the very least. Now, does that mean that Starship and SLS, it doesn't matter? Like, which one do we use? Do we use Starship? Do we use SLS? Does it matter? No. That's not how that works at all. I would still go down in favor with Starship every day of the week. The reason why is because Starship has the stakeholder expectation that it's designed to launch every day. One of Starship's fundamental goals is being able to fly as much as an airplane. All right. And in that regard, I'll bet you dollars to donuts it's more expensive than SLS. But the difference between Starship and SLS here is how often are you going to launch? You need to get a return on investment. SLS has no ROI planned for a long time. Now, what's a return on investment for a publicly funded rocket? The return on investment is scientific understanding. It always has been. Not necessarily the case for SpaceX. Right? SpaceX needs customers. Can't just keep internally funding a pipe dream to Mars, right? They need investors and they need customers to pay for all this. So it's a little bit of a different stakeholder expectation. But I would contend to say that if SLS was slated to launch, heck, I would say, let's say SLS launch, we had an SLS launch 4 times a year, 4 times to the moon every year for the next 10 years. I'll bet you that would probably, total cost involved, probably be cheaper than Starship. Yeah. Total cost involved. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You got to think about what Starship's designed to do. Starship is way more complicated than SLS. Way more complicated. Way more complicated. It's not even close. SLS is an expendable launch vehicle with expendable SRBs using a hydrolock system that does warrant complexity, but it's nowhere near super heavy, not even close. And Super Heavy and Starship are fully reusable. There's no way. If you compared price tag to price tag, I'll bet you Starship is more expensive. But what's going to buck that trend is launch cadence. Sorry, but I consider Starliner to be a boondoggle, not a viable product. I have no idea how you can even say that statement, Ace, while Starliner is docked to the ISS right now. How is that even possible? How can you say that straight up? I don't understand. Boondoggle implies nothing is getting done. Starship is at the Starliner's at the ISS right now with astronauts delivered there on a test flight. How can you say it's a boondoggle? I don't understand. What are you talking about? How long did it take to get there to this point? Okay, you want to play the time game. All right, that's fine. Let's play the time game. When did SpaceX first develop capsules? SpaceX's first capsule was on the books in 2008 and made its first operational mission in 2012, the Dragon 1 capsule. For CRS-1, first resupply to the space station, first operational revenue mission. The commercial crew contract came out in 2014. SpaceX had 2 operational test flights to the ISS when that came out, and Dragon had been on the books for 6 years. So that's 6 years of Dragon funding, plus the commercial crew funding on top of that. Dragon 2, albeit hitting some bumps in the road in 2017 and 2018, first flew astronauts to the ISS in May of 2020. So that's on the book funding for a capsule, human rated funding in 2014, and first mission in 2020. That's a 12-year life cycle for funding and development for sending humans to the ISS. Because you can't say that just because they got funding in 2014, that would mean that SpaceX wasn't preparing to human rate the Dragon 1 capsule eventually. That's ridiculous. SpaceX absolutely used what they learned from the Dragon 1 program to be more prepared for Dragon 2. And that's through their own admittance. So if you look at it that way, SpaceX, from a capsule being on the books for ISS resupply to the first crewed flight, you're looking at a 12-year operational development cycle. Starliner got on the books in 2014. Now, was NASA wrong for thinking that they'd be okay and they could be hands-off with Starliner development? Abso-freaking-lutely, they were wrong. Boeing's never built a spacecraft before. They bought companies that built spacecraft. Look, just because you can do an oil change in a car doesn't mean you're the next Henry Ford, all right? I don't care how experienced Boeing is. This is not an experience problem. This is what's the word? It's an inexperienced problem, excuse me. That's what I'm trying to say. So, Boeing went on the books in 2014. NASA was wrong to be hands-off with them because in 2019, they screwed up. OFT-1 was a basically a catastrophic failure by any testing parameters. That's wrong, absolutely. But now their first operational test flight is in 2024, 10-year cycle. I would contend to say that they're right on par. I wouldn't say it's a boondoggle. I would say Starliner, funding the Starliner program has been more expensive. And NASA was completely wrong for going hands-off with both commercial contractors. That was really, with one of the commercial contractors, and then putting SpaceX under a magnifying glass. That was stupid. But I wouldn't call Starliner a boondoggle. It's following a development curve that pretty much fits in with every other spacecraft. It takes about 10 years to develop a human-rated spacecraft, give or take. Look at history. Look at any space capsule. And it's agnostic of cost and economic system too. If you look at the first capsule that flew man into space, the Vostok 1 capsule, and then Soyuz development and Soyuz operational status, that took about 10 years as well, from Yuri Gagarin's flight to, I was about to say Soyuz 1, but Soyuz 1 is objectively a pretty bad failure as well. Let's say Soyuz 2, about a 10-year cycle. Give or take, maybe a little less. Boeing being involved in this was ridiculous. You are correct. That's not what I said at all. It takes about 10 years to build a human-rated spacecraft. You could look at Soviet systems, you could look at Chinese systems, you could look at us, you could look at anything. The Apollo Apollo program started to come on the books in 1961 after Kennedy's address. Fiscal year 1962, it was operational by 1968 and completed its mission in 1969, 61 to 69. Now, that's with a blank check from Uncle Sam. The space shuttle. Funding started in 1972, first operational test flight 1981, without some boondoggles, supposed boondoggles in between. They couldn't get the tile, they had a problem with liquid absorption with tile adhesion in 1979, and it almost killed the program. Well, not almost killed the program, but it delayed the program by 3 years almost. Columbia was supposed to launch in 1979, first launched in 1981. So 1972 to 1981, 9 years. Once again, same thing. Dragon first came on the books in 2008. First test flight 2010. First operational revenue generating mission 2012. Commercial crew contract 2014. First operational test flight with humans aboard 2020. That's a 12-year span. Starliner 2014 comes on the books. Right? 2024. First crewed test flight to the space station. Boom, right there. It takes about 10 years to develop a spacecraft. I don't care who you are. You could sit here and say that Boeing's a boondoggle, but I contend to say that they're following a bell curve that's pretty consistent with every single spacecraft that carries humans in it developed ever. I don't think it's a boondoggle at all. Does that mean spacecraft don't have teething problems? Oh, they absolutely do. They absolutely have teething problems. This absolutely happens. The Russian spacecraft had one goal: to beat the USA. Astronaut safety did not really matter. So they have a condensed timeline comparatively to us. Like I said, the system is agnostic of economics. It's just it's straight. This is a straight effort thing. SpaceX, what I'm trying to tell you is that Starship's not a boondoggle. It's just the effort needs to. It's not a boondoggle. It's working just like It's following a timeline that's consistent with every other spacecraft development, more or less. I mean, honestly, we have a little bit of a mean curve here, right? Like some spacecraft take 12 years, some spacecraft take 10, some took 8, right? Some took 6. But for the most part, it's about a decade. And if you think I'm crazy, right? If you think like, ah, this guy's full of crap, dude, that is exactly what Neil Armstrong and Gene Cernan said when they testified to Congress in 2011 about putting all your eggs in the commercial basket. They said this exact thing. Now, everybody contends to say that they said that they thought SpaceX was full of crap. That's not what they said. What they did say is that surrendering our national space program and putting it in the hands of an entirely commercial endeavor is crazy, because it takes about a decade to develop this stuff. That is what they said, almost verbatim, from Neil Armstrong and Gene Cernan's congressional testimony. And guess what? They said this in 2010. Neil Armstrong himself said it takes about a decade to develop a human-rated spacecraft, give or take. It might take less if you had the funding, but it takes about a decade. It's not that these commercial partners were a bad idea. It's that trying to prioritize that and surrendering our national space program. He was talking about it in regards to canceling Constellation. Canceling Constellation and putting all our eggs in the commercial spaceflight basket is going to set us back by a decade. That is what they said verbatim. You can go look this up. I'm not trying to jerk your chain. This stuff happens. They said that building this stuff is difficult. It happens. This stuff happens. Starliner isn't a boondoggle. I contend to say that it's going about as good as it can go, considering NASA basically turned a blind eye to it for the first 5 years of the program. I'd say it's doing pretty okay. But people don't want to hear that because it's fun and exciting to jump on the screw Boeing bandwagon. Now, don't get me wrong. Their plane program is in trouble. They need to really fix that or frick off. But I'll tell you that first of all, Boeing Space is not Boeing Commercial Airplanes. Those are two different companies. Could they have similar management practices? Yes. Did they? Yes. Until NASA decided after the fiasco that was OFT-1 that they're not going to do that anymore. NASA basically said, guess what? We gave you guys a long leash and you blew it. We're in charge of this now. And I contend to say since then, it's going pretty well. Think about it, dude. Like, I'm not trying to say you'll concede the point. Right on, man. Like, dude, I get what you're trying to say. And it's easy to hate on Starliner. It's very easy. Like, they have so much seeming problems. But that's because NASA has to be transparent about it, because they're pulling the strings, because Boeing screwed up catastrophically bad in 2019. Like, catastrophically bad. Like, and don't get me wrong, this isn't about being like, oh, Space Ace is wrong. Screw Space Ace. I want to be right. I want to argue on the internet. We're having a discussion. I'm just telling you these points. I think these are very interesting and stuff that should be taken into account. Now, once again, am I regurgitating points from stuff? If anything, I'm regurgitating points from Neil Armstrong and Gene Cernan, which I don't think is the stupidest thing to do. I think I think those guys know a lot about what it takes to build spacecraft. I'm just putting it out there. Like, I just putting it out there. Everybody that's in the know, everybody that's even worth one iota to listen to, they all say the same thing. Everyone says this. No, YouTube isn't up, but anyway. Now, Space Ace, do they need to understand and fix these problems with Starliner? Yes. Starliner is leaking helium. The spacecraft take that into account. But I will say, if we're going to play devil's advocate to my own point here for a second, that, look, man, you had one helium leak when it was on the pad. It launched. Now you have 4 helium leaks. Fix that. Fix that. That demonstrates unknowns. And don't get me wrong, you're never going to know exactly how your spacecraft's going to go until you fly it. That's one of these things. That's the plight of every aerospace company, every aerospace engineer. Look, at the end of the day, sometimes there's no math in the world that could you could have a pretty good percentage chance of outcome with missions. You're never going to get it 100% right. Murphy's Law is always at you. Now, here's the thing. I'd rather them find these helium leaks in a test flight rather than an operational mission. Absolutely. You ideally don't want any surprises during operational missions, which is why when I was telling you about capsule development, I made it a thing to mention Dragon operational flights. Flights that generate revenue. SpaceX had teething problems with Dragon. One blew up on the test stand. Does that mean SpaceX is bad at engineering capsules? No. SpaceX, Dragon had helium leaks. It absolutely had helium leaks. Did we hear about it? Probably not. Because it's not fashionable to hate SpaceX. I mean, kind of is nowadays, but I guess the point is that I don't argue this stuff because I'm a Boeing fanboy or a SpaceX fanboy. I think it's more important to have the engineering speak for itself and the processes speak for itself. Now, if I have problems with processes, I'll let you know. I think NASA was entirely wrong for a hands-off approach with Boeing. When they handed out the commercial crew contracts, SpaceX was the risk. And it's hilarious to me. And granted, I have the benefit of hindsight. I thought this was a good idea at the time, and I'm not infallible with this stuff. I thought, yeah, you know, SpaceX is the new player here. You know, it'd probably be better to just keep an eye on them. Boeing should be able to handle it. But when you go back and you think about it, and once again, we have the benefit of hindsight. You go back and you think about it. Which one of those companies had developed a capsule previously? Not Boeing. Boeing's never made a human-rated spacecraft in the company's entire history. They operated the space shuttle and acquired companies that operated that engineered the space shuttle. Rockwell International engineered the space shuttle. Rockwell merged with Boeing in 1993, and Boeing basically took the development team, fired them, and just took the operations and just operated it for the rest of the program. So no new development happened with the space shuttle because of consolidation in the aerospace industry after the defense funding dried up at the end of the Cold War. Just saying. Rockwell International was previously known as North American Aviation. North American Aviation made the Apollo Command Service Module. Boeing doesn't make human-rated spacecraft. This is their first one ever. They don't make human-rated spacecraft. They've operated spacecraft that other companies have developed. Like I said, just because you can do an oil change doesn't mean you're the next Henry Ford. Maintaining and operating a car is not the same thing as building one. Not even by a long shot. And guess what? It's exponentially more difficult with a spacecraft, right? Right? So I think NASA was entirely wrong for putting a magnifying glass under SpaceX and not doing that with Boeing, considering SpaceX had actually engineered a capsule relatively recently prior to the commercial crew contract funding being awarded. Just saying. Hey, Brun, what's going on? Leggy, what's going on? How you doing? Anyway, I'm going to start up the YouTube stream and we'll go. I burned an hour already. We got to get to wrenching. Boeing did what Boeing does best, make more money by firing experienced people. SCOM, once again, in the context of their Boeing commercial aircraft industry, yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I don't think there were any experienced people in the Boeing commercial spaceflight company. There's no experienced people. Nobody there has ever engineered a capsule. There were no experienced people to fire. Maybe they'll do that in the future. Hopefully not. Anyway, I'm going to bring up the title card, and we will start up the YouTube stream, and we'll get to wrenching. Ernok's waiting for me in the garage. Okay, welcome YouTubers. Hello, greetings programs. We totally just didn't rant about space, and I'm totally not just turning the YouTube stream on right now because of continuity. Anyway, to be fair, you'll always trust a more established company. Yeah, that's fine, Darkside. You can trust a more established company, but physics are physics. I don't give a frick about your establishment, and frankly, neither does physics. Physics does not care if you're an established company, especially when it comes to spaceflight in general. No, physics is the ruling party there. Sorry. And it's totalitarian rule. There's not much you can do about it. So whoever has a better understanding of physics, establishment be damned. Anyway, wrenching time. Let's go. Chemistry 2. Yeah, numeric for sure. Absolutely. Hey, there's my guy. All right, we got to get that suspension installed. So stand by for loss of signal from the office as expected.
Hello.
Hello, Cleveland.
Hello, Cleveland.
Joke.
You're advocating for a physics democracy. You advocating for a physics democracy, O-Force, is about as stupid as that book that we saw, advocating that, you know, commercial space is in it for capitalism and imperialism, and then using the space race as your supporting evidence for that. I lost some brain cells from that. I probably shouldn't have showed it on stream.
I'm gonna be honest. I was down in the bathroom when you were talking about that. It helped.
Okay. Yeah, good. I mean, did you wash your hands?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
What kind of a crazy person would not wash their hands?
The lady that wrote that book, maybe.
Obviously.
Anyway, got to go. Nice debating with you. Space Ace, I'm down anytime. Anytime. I'll argue any point, counter or floor. I could probably argue that lady's points about how we should spend money down here better than she could.
Yeah.
But I'm always willing to throw a monkey wrench in my idea. So bring on the dissenting opinions as long as you're not a prick.
Yes.
Like, seriously, I could probably make better arguments than her about what she's advocating for in that book, which is hilarious. Wow. I'm all for dissenting opinion, but wow, you suck at what you do. A nutless monkey could do your job. Seriously. A nutless monkey. All right, we got a bad glare, so I'm going to shut the door.
Yep. Let's turn the fan on. We're gonna need that. It's warming up quick.
All right. Cool, that should be a little bit better, right?
Oh, that looks way better. Like, way better.
If the door is closed, do we get a Titan overseer? I don't want him in here, dude, because there's like crap on the floor, and let's be real, he's still a pup. He's still figuring things out, and he's only been here for a week. I don't need him like sipping on transmission fluid. I really don't want to do that. If that's cool. All right, so let's get going. Let me make sure that you make sure the cameras are all good.
Yeah, they're all working.
All right. I gotta figure this crap out. Gotta see if we can figure out a way to put some type of loop in here.
That port is not happy.
Yeah, the HDMI connector on this thing is junk. Let me see if we have another one. Give me 1 second, guys. I don't want you guys to just see this the entire time. I want to bring the camera down there with you so you can see what we're doing. And yeah, the cable for this is just frayed to hell. So let me see if I have another HDMI cable around, HDMI to HDMI mini that we could use.
I thought we had another one.
There's gotta be one. If not, I have another solution.
Yeah, we got a mud dauber in here. It's alright, he doesn't have any mud.
Bug assault!
Nope. He's over there now. He's at the light. Now he's at the front. Oh, he is very confused. Now he's back here.
Man, stop moving!
Oh, he is very confused.
Give me 1 second.
Right there. Now he's coming back here. Now he's over there. Now he's over there. God dang it, land, you piece of crap.
Lost him in the light.
Yep, he's over here. Now he's coming back your way.
All right, better solution.
Now he's over here. All right, I think he went out. Now close. Nope, nope, no he didn't. Get out. Now he's out. Now close it.
Success!
Yes. Oh God, yes.
Bug assault! All
There's
right.
a mud dauber.
Yeah, I don't want those in here.
No, no, those are annoying.
They like making homes in cars.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not overly aggressive, but they are a menace.
Yeah, but I am.
Yes.
All right. Let's get to it.
Okay.
So, where we last left off, yeah, the cables aren't really doing what I want them to do. Got to figure this out. Goat at throttle up. Yeah, that one's broken too. Same spot.
Dang it.
Oh. It's not the
It's not the
not
port,
the port.
it's the cable?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just the cable. All right, let me see. I got an idea. Heads up.
All right. This one is a mini.
Yeah, the problem is that we can't get the long HDMI cable, you know? That's the problem that I'm dealing with. So here's what I'm gonna do. This is the jankest way of doing this, and I swear I'll have a fix for this later. To prevent this from moving around, we will Gorilla Tape this thing.
Tape the frayed part to support it better. Yes, exactly, all systems. You got it. Good enough for Australia. It was a bug, RJ. It's a mud dauber. Alright, let me check the status of the camera. Okay.
Anything?
We have that one. We lost that one.
Yeah, it's okay. Let's just figure this one out right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, SVO, the transmission bell housing is on a jack stand. This is not under load right now. I don't put load on hydraulics. That's really stupid. Hydraulics are for lifting and lowering. Yeah, believe me, I agree with you. I mean, I don't think we need to buy a new stand or anything right now, but yeah, I'm with you on that one.
That, and we do actually have the transmission stand over there.
Yeah, I got the transmission jack, which is mechanical, not hydraulic. This ain't no Ford I see. Yeah, well, I have this. Chevys keep showing up in my damn garage. It's ridiculous. And then I have to do all this freaking work to them.
Hey, you said.
Hey, I never said it was bad work.
Yes.
Freaking Chevy shows up. Ridiculous. Actually, another one just like this might be showing up sooner rather than later. I might have 2 Chevys on my property, which I don't know how to feel about that, you know? Like,
Well, you have more Fords than Chevys, so don't worry. You're still asserting dominance.
what does Ford stand for? Fix it again, Tony.
First on race day.
All right. Okay, so this camera should be good to go now.
Yep.
So where we last left off, we were dropping the cross member here. And don't worry, like I said, I put it up on, the drive line is up on jack stands and not up on hydraulics because that's super dangerous. So did we charge any lights, dude?
These 2 lights should be charged.
All right.
These 2 right here. We didn't use them, and I charged them the other day.
Cool. All right, let me add them.
There you go.
Switch to teleview.
Uttered. Switching teleview. Teleview active.
All right, so let me give a brief overview. This rusty-ish piece here, this thing, see that? This is the cross member. The cross member is what's cradling the engine. Now it's not bolted up, you can see right there, that's the mount. It's not bolted up right now, and we need to drop it. Problem we ran into last night is the brake lines are bolted to the cross member. They're bolted on a retaining bracket up here, across the, up here for this brake, for the driver's side, and then underneath the cross member over to the other side like 3 or 4 times. We got to add a wrench, and we have to undo all that so we can, and only then that's when we can fully drop this thing. What I'm doing is we got to be very careful because these brake lines are hard lines. They're steel. So you can bend them a little bit, but you don't want to bend them too much because they'll kink and you will kink a line and then no brakes. I don't think I need to say why that would be bad, but let's just say that that would be very bad. Yeah, we don't want that. So that's what we got to do. That's what we're here to do. Let's see if we can do it. All right. This is the last step of disassembly, and then hopefully we could start the reassembly process sooner rather than later. Okay, let me see if I can get a handle on the bolts here. Where are my gloves? There they are. Put my gloves on so my hands don't get as dirty. Dirty, I think it's French. You do not, no, not that kind of kink, guys. We don't want that. I mean, you can if you want. I'm not about that life, but hey, whatever. Okay. Actually, I will say, this car is super easy to work on. Like, I see why people do like Chevys, but don't tell anybody I said that, okay? Don't tell nobody. It's, yeah, super easy to work on. Everything is very intuitive, and it's very easy to figure out how stuff goes together if you have a basic understanding of cars. But you didn't hear that from me, okay? Dirte, it's French. Yeah. It's French.
All right, Mr. Gimbal, why are you no working?
Power it up. Oh. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it does that. I don't really know what that means. It did that a couple of times throughout the road trip. Should be good now. Yep, should be good now.
There we go.
Hey, make sure we put lights on the charger over there, okay?
Of course.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
All right, let's get going.
Back. Here's another light.
Cool. Just making sure the cameras are good to go, and then we are good to go.
Yep.
Okay, we've made our wire repairs to the camera. I'm trying to see what kind of bolts we need. That looks like, hold on.
Yeah, where we had left off, we had discovered that the brake lines are actually clipped or bolted.
Yep.
To the cross member. We need to get those off.
Those look standard. They look imperial, but if it's, yeah, we'll see. It's either a 9mm or
Well, good old Jimmy Carter made it difficult for us to know for sure.
yeah, it's either 9mm or 3/8. All right, let's see. Let's see which one it is.
If you need me to grab anything else, you just let me know.
All right. Half inch maybe? 3/8 is too small.
It's too small. Let's see. Here's half inch. Here we go.
Half inch is much too big. All right.
Okay.
Here, just
Yeah.
3/8 is too small. All right, 5/16.
Hold on. No. Let's check. Uh, 5/16. Oh, come on. Nope. Okay.
No.
Look up here. Sorry. I'm looking. You mean 5/8?
No. No, I don't.
5/16 is smaller than 3/8.
Seven sixteenths.
7/16.
Try 7/16. Yeah.
Dang it.
Sorry, I went in the wrong direction.
That's all right.
I went in the wrong direction, chat. Sorry.
Oh, Stanton.
7/16 is too big. 10 mil.
10 mil. Got it. Stand by. 10 mil. 10 mil.
Good.
Hello, Titan.
Taito. Titan.
Hey, buddy. What you doing?
Hello. What?
They're up there right now. No, he's behind the car.
Switch it. Did you switch to high cam?
Yes.
Enoch?
Yeah, it's on high. Where you going, buddy?
Taito.
Come here, buddy. Hi.
Titan. Hello.
Hi, buddy.
Guys, this is Titan if you haven't met him. He's a good boy.
Go see Daddy. Here, you have a treat, Titan. Titan, there you go.
Hi, buddy.
We're working on our name today because I think we're ignoring it.
Hey, no. That's not for you, buddy. Mwah. Ugh.
No,
Dog
that's
tongue.
castle nut. You don't want to eat that. That's not a treat.
But
Good boy.
Need to go get him more Treatos. We shall see, huh?
Cool. All right, baby. Love you. All right. I need a 10 mil socket.
Hopefully we haven't lost them all.
Can I pet the dog? No.
Socks have legs. Especially the 10 wheels. Definitely grow legs.
Whoa, okay. She moved. Ow, ow. There's a sharp piece of metal up there, and guess what? It just went right through the glove. That's cool.
Maybe don't.
Yeah. All right, I need another jack stand. Do we have any more?
No, other than the one that's right behind your head holding the caliper.
Okay, jack that up, put the motor in tension again, please.
Let me check it.
All right, now get the floor.
Motor's in tension.
Give it a couple more pumps, please.
All right.
More.
More.
Okay, good. All right, take the floor jack. Slide it forward. I'm putting the floor jack underneath the transmission bell.
Let me put the jack back.
And I put a jack stand underneath the cross member, guys. See it? All right, jack it up, don't hit my truck. That's good, stop.
Stopping.
Cool, all right. Now I got the driver's side brake line. We just have to get the passenger. I'm almost wondering if the new cross member has provisions for all these brake lines.
I can tell you from the instructions what it says.
We'll I need you under here, dude. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. If not, I'll make new retainers.
All right, where do you need me?
On the other side, holding on to this cross member.
All right, give me a sec. Okay, I got it on my side.
All right, just hold it up more. Push it up as, yeah, there you go. There we go, that's fine. The thing is, I just don't want to put the brake lines in tension, and I don't want to stretch the lines.
Yep.
If we can do with not replacing any brake lines, I'll consider this a huge success.
Great success. You win the game. You let me know when it's safe for me to get up, and I'll get up. Otherwise, I'll stay down here.
Yeah, just I can't take the cross member down by myself, dude,
Yeah.
because there's brake lines over there.
Yep. Again, that's why I said what I
Yep.
said.
Yep. All good. Just moving some wrenches out of the way. Okay.
Once we finally get this thing out, I'll show you an interesting thing about this cross member.
Almost got it.
Almost there. That bolt getting stuck?
Nope.
No, you get it? Alright.
There's one more. I might be able to get at this one from the top, dudes. Support the cross member so you don't get clanked. It's already supported, man.
Yep.
That probably was chat delay, though.
More than
Almost got the last one, dudes. Okay. Hey, Antares. All right. Okay. Put your hand up between, like up here. So see where the spring perch is? Put your thumb in the spring perch and put your hand on the chassis. Got it?
Yep.
Okay. So now I'm gonna let my side down. Now let your side down a little ways. Now turn. Make sure we don't get snagged on a brake line. Okay.
It's out.
She's out. Wow, that sucked.
Yeah.
That was hard.
Yeah. Yeah, that wasn't fun. But it's out.
We didn't bend up these brake lines too bad, which is good.
Yep. So I was reading on the instructions. We may have to move some of these around a little bit from the new one.
That's
But
okay.
we shouldn't have to move it too much.
The caliper is in tension with the brake line, right? It's just on the ground?
Yeah, it's just on the ground.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. All right, so I'm going to switch us to the high cam. And ready?
Yep. Camera that's right there.
We'll bring it out on your side. So lift and then put it down on my side. There we go. And then lift it again. I got you. There it is. She's out.
So, here's an interesting thing about this particular crossfeeder. If we're going to put an LS in here,
Yeah.
in this section right here,
You'd have to cut it.
you have to cut it and then box it. If you don't do that, the AC pump won't.
Cool.
However, if you replace that with a tubular crossmember, you don't have to worry about it. That ain't there.
All right, so Trev, get the Fayutech up so we can compare them.
Okay. Fayutech.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about automotive structure. Once we get the cameras configured. There's a big W getting that out of the car. Yeah. Actually, we might be able to use the third cam a little bit. Switch us to the 3 cam. The one I'm pointing at.
Yeah.
Okay, now switch us off high cam over there on OBS. It's the kind of a little bit of a jank system, guys, but okay. So here we go. Am I in shot?
You are in shot.
Tony, am I in the shot? Ah, gosh dang son of a All right, so
Oh, dang it, did I walk through it?
heck. I don't need any more camera shots at this juncture. All right, so here is the stock cross member with its motor mounts, and here's the aftermarket one. As you can see, the aftermarket one, a little bit thinner. Crazy thing about this thing is lighter and stronger because that one is using tubes, okay? This is using a series of tubes. It's like a big truck. This is all tubular steel, which is way stronger than this. This crossmember is good, but it's 30-year-old tech. It's just stamped pieces of steel. That's all this thing is. It's just, they stamped one side and they stamped another side and then they welded them together. That's it. That's all this is. Honestly, compared to this is like tin foil. So what this thing is going to do when we put it in is it's going to make the structure of the car, like the whole thing is going to be way stronger. The thing that's holding the motor into the car, because that's what this crossmember does. The crossmember holds the suspension and the motor in place in the front of the car. So we have a stronger and lighter one here that's going to make it much more rigid. You'll especially feel it. It's basically modern suspension and modern automotive structural engineering to get this right. Now, thing that was going on that ran into a snag last night is if you look here, here, and here, the brake line was on a retainer and the brake line went up here and over. When we tried to pull the crossmember down, we started pulling down the brake lines. Now, luckily, I noticed there was one for the driver's side brake right here, which went down and under, and then the passenger side went over, and then it went down and then under again, right? So we had to get all those brackets off. Those brackets are still on there, but yeah. This is 30-year-old tech, and this is 21st century tech. And this one is stronger and lighter. Despite it looking way flimsier, it's actually not, which is interesting to me. But yeah, this is just two stamped pieces of steel that have been welded together at the seam. And then it looks like the lower control arm aft attachment is just welded on the back. Like I said, this is cheap. It's a cheap way to do it, but it's not necessarily a bad way to do it. This is good for 30 years ago. It's fine. This was actually pretty damn trick for the time. Pretty damn good. Now you can see right here and right here, these are the spring perches, and that's where the old coil springs mounted. We're not doing that. We're not reusing that, so we don't need it. That's why this thing doesn't have the spring perches on it. It's a lot, and that's where you save a lot of weight, because we're using a much more modern coil-over suspension than the McPherson akin struts on there. Also, your motor mount bushings are shot. Yeah, those shouldn't really be doing that. But the other thing is that this crossmember has a bunch of different holes in it to support different types of engines. V6, 305 TBI, and a 350. That's why you have a bunch of different holes here, because GM they made one type of crossmember that can mount a couple of different types of engines, which is actually super cool. I'll bet you the LQ9 mounts are still drilled on this thing, even though it wasn't offered this year. But anyway, yeah, there you go. Out with the old. And in with the new.
All right. Let me actually read the instructions that it tells you.
Sure. I'm going to look at chat. So.
All right. The mounts are marked on the bottom left side, driver's side.
I don't think it's for a 454. I don't think a 454 came in this car unless GM is standardizing cross members across platforms.
If installing on the factory frame line, which we are, the front two holes on the mount with the rear two holes in the frame. Installing on the factory frame, line the front two holes on the mount with the rear two holes in the frame. The third hole must be drilled into the frame. One brake line may have to be slightly bent out of the way.
Yeah, we took care of that already. So what did they say? What holes need to be drilled? Say that again.
So, if installing on the factory frame, line the front two holes on the mount with the rear two holes in the frame. The third hole must be drilled.
What? Huh. This looks like it's picking up on all the factory points, if I'm looking at this right. And there are provisions for the brake lines. I can see them. There's definitely provisions for it, which is very nice. All the factory points are there, which is super cool. Okay.
They almost offered the third gen with the big block. It's super tight, but it'll fit.
Oh, those are studs. Got it.
Sea Kraken's like, nice shirt.
Stand back. I built this myself.
Alright, so all of our parts are in that box over there.
It's okay. Let's focus on the cross member first. I want the cross member back in so we don't need to have the crane there.
Yep.
We got to do the motor mounts too.
Yep.
All right.
All the hardware for everything in here.
All right. All right.
So, here's our new clamshells. Good and nice. See? Brand new clamp.
Yep. Did it come with upper motor mounts?
Came with clamps. I didn't see any uppers.
All right, well, that's fine. Is Ernox mic on? Yeah.
Ernox mic is on, but I'm using the microphone that's built into the thing, so you're not going to get the best reception from it.
Yeah, I'm going to come in a lot louder, guys. How are you going to fit a big block in there?
I have no idea how you fit a big block.
I mean, maybe? I don't know. That would be nuts, actually. Like,
According to Hellfish, it fits, but it's a tight squeeze.
if you're going to fly around. Anyway.
Oh yeah, flies all over the place.
No more! I mean, toes fit one. Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. It did in fact fit one.
Yep. It can be done. I think they replaced the cross member as well.
All right. See if you have the bolts for these. Here, let's.
Not only do we have the bolts, but we also have those. See those?
Oh, the
little brackets?
triangulated brackets, yeah.
We have those. Motor mount mounting bolts. Brake line mounting bolts. K-member mounting.
All right, so the first thing we got to do is put the lower motor mounts onto the cross member, loose, and then, well, actually, I don't know if they should be loose. I don't think we have the play there, but we'll see.
I'm wondering what these are that are in the box, because I told them I ordered it with these. These are for if I decided to put an LS in here. So these are the uppers for an LS.
Cool. Excellent. Okay. All right. So we got to figure out which holes these use. So it shouldn't be. Yeah, there's a tab. It's basically idiot proof. This thing can only go in one way. I say that. It can only be like this or like this. Am I stupid? Yeah.
Yeah, there's only 3. So it should be 2 uppers, 1 lower. So it should catch this, and then one of those down there.
It's not even close to any of those.
Not?
Nope. Check chat. We're doing something wrong. I'm missing something completely. What the funkin' waggles is going on here?
Is there an L or an R stamped on? There, I seem to remember that. The
No.
mounts are marked on the bottom. Left for driver's side and right for passenger side.
They're not, though.
They're not?
It just says... This is the same mount. But knowing Chevy, it's probably agnostic. You can probably use one for either side. I'm very confused.
Yeah, I'm just going off of what the instructions.
Okay. Yeah, guys, these holes don't align at all. Like, at all. I'm very confused. That's weird. Here.
About with this hole.
That's the brakes. That's for the brakes,
Okay.
I think. I mean, it's not the same diameter. I would assume it's 1, 2, 3, and 4, but none of these even come close. Like, it's not even close. Guys, there's a tab on the back of these things. Which side does the tab go? I'm super confused. Is there any more motor mounts in there?
No, the only thing that's in here are the uppers for the LS.
What are they saying over there? Can you check chat for a second?
Yeah. What I think we might have to do is use these and then put those.
These are... Oh, okay.
And in fact,
Yeah, I'm
correct.
stupid. Yeah.
These have to go in there, and then they go in here.
Well, if that's the case, we really don't need these, because that means these bolt to an LS. Yeah.
You do need those. Those are the plates that actually go on there.
We have to take them off the motor.
Yes.
All right.
We have the clamshells, they're all there. Yeah, they're labeled on the bottom side, L and R.
Okay. Yep. All right. I see how this works.
I was wrong when all I did was hand you the clamshell.
I was very confused because, yeah. All right.
Yep, I was incorrect.
Guys, the bushings are on the motor mounts. They're on the upper motor mounts, not the lowers. They're from the factory. They're on the lowers, so it's reversed from the factory. And I don't know why it does that. I'll just chalk that up to Chevy stuff and call it a day.
This is so when you're ready to put the LS in, all you got to do is get rid of the clamp.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. I got you. We figured it out. Like I said, we knew we were doing something dumb.
Yep, that's why when you said that, I was like, hey, wait a second.
We're doing it dumb again.
Right?
All right, so yeah, see, this makes way more sense.
And then here's L.
Okay. No, I don't mind doing it dumb as long as we figure it out. I need a torque spec for these.
Let me look and see what it says. You have the sheet. I think it's over there. I don't think they're giving torque specs, but I might be wrong.
Okay.
I'll look up the OEMs for the mounts. We'll go off that.
Well, these are grade, if all else fails, these are flanged grade 8 nuts. Chat, look. So see it has that little like collar around it? It's a flanged grade 8. Should be pretty easy to figure that spec out. It's probably high. Because considering these are the 4 bolts that hold the motor to the rest of the car.
Chassis. Engine mounting bracket bolts. 80 foot-pounds.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Can you check chat for me, brother?
Yep.
While I do the rest of this.
Do you need Loctite on that?
Yeah, I was thinking we should probably red Loctite the heck out of these things.
Well, the good news is the red Loctite is right in front of you. Look at it.
Yeah, I bought red Loctite when I went and got the blue Loctite the other day, guys.
The rest up.
Is that the new or the old one? I need the.
The old one.
I don't want the old one. The old one's broken. We need the one that's still in the package. There we go. Because if we're going to do this, we're going to do this right.
There you go. How's the height there? Going to screw us on the hood.
We
There's
have
no difference.
we have adjustable suspension.
That's the other one.
It shouldn't be that big of a deal, dude, to change it. We can change the ride height by adjusting the spring rate. That's really not how you're supposed to do that, but we can. It shouldn't lower it much.
I think what he's referring to is the height. There is no difference. This is meant to be a bolt-in application. There is no difference.
Oh, for the height of the engine? Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, no, it's fine. It should maintain the same geometry for the driveline.
Yeah, I think the problem is that this particular receiver is not the greatest in the world. I basically have to eat the microphone in order for you guys to hear me.
We could put that under there.
Nom 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 nom. There. Is that better? Tape it to your face. Like, I don't think you guys realize that I literally have to put it right here on my mouth. Like, right up to my mouth.
All right. I'm taking off the factory motor mounts.
Okay. Are you not into trains? Is that not why you are here?
Trav, there's a light on top of the engine.
Yes.
Can you grab that? It should be on the valve cover. Yeah, I need that down here. Thank you. So, I don't know how well you guys can see, but there's the motor mounts. We got to get those off. Where's the impact driver?
It's over here.
Oh, thank you. Hey, thanks, buddy. Waffles.
Hey, wait. Where are you going with my shoes?
Waffles. They're real comfortable.
Sneaky was all your timing. That ad literally just played for him in Cities 2 on the radio as he's playing it.
Nice. Hey, thanks, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay.
Brace yourself, Falcon. This is where Vamp Rogue now plugs Evan and Caitlin's stupid YouTube channel.
How does this fit?
Huh. Huh? Did we run into a bit of a pickle?
Yeah. Are these for an LS?
I have a feeling that these are for an LS.
Yeah. This is not gonna fit. It's not even close.
Okay. What if we take the clamshells off of the existing mount?
How are we gonna do that?
I'm gonna bolt them.
They're backwards, remember?
Let me see the engine mount.
Yeah, guys, these are not even close. This is an LS bracket, I'm pretty sure. That's absolutely not gonna fit. Problem is, I don't know if anybody makes like one of these things. The bushing mounts to the motor. I don't know if there's a 350 mount. There probably is, or a small block Chevy mount that works like that. I don't know if that exists. There probably is. I'm not gonna lie to you. There probably is, but
I think what I did was when I ordered this, I took into account that I'd have an LS to bolt to it, rather than getting the mount kit that I need for just a regular Chevy 350, because I'm a moron.
okay. All right. We got to do some research.
Yeah, a little bit. God dang it. Oh yeah, I forgot they're also Twitch streamers. Graver, I'm being silly because it was a stab at Vamp because she's my wife.
You guys a fan of Krager? Yeah, of course. Yeah, mags are awesome, dude. I don't know how good mags would look on this car. Certain ones would look good, but yeah. All right. So here's the problem that we're dealing with.
Let me set this.
If you guys can see, take a look. This is what goes to the engine. There's three holes, 1, 2, and 3. All right. This is designed to have the bushing mounted on the frame or mounted on the cross member. So there's no bushing here, there's no rubber, right? Now, Why do you have a bushing between the motor and the rest? Dampen out vibrations. Solid mount motors can fatigue metal a lot, and the ride is very bad. That's like race car stuff. We're not necessarily doing that here. Now the thing is, the mounts that we have that go with the brackets that fit onto our aftermarket cross member, right, have the bushings on the thing that bolts to the motor. The problem is that's a 4-bolt configuration. 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one is down here, right? It looks like on this particular application, the bushing is on the lower motor mount, right? It's on the lower motor mount that goes to the frame, and the 350 goes over it like that. From what I can tell on LS stuff, it's reversed. The bushing is actually bolted to the motor. And because of that, we don't have a way to hook this to the small block Chevy that's in there. So now we need to go hunting for a motor side bushing that's in this configuration. That's the plight that we're dealing with right now. Crap.
Polyurethane motor mount bushing for small and big block Chevrolet engines, $85.
I'm pretty damn stupid, but can't you just weld it? Weld the... No, you don't... I don't want to weld. You can't weld anything to the motor. The motor's cast iron. Welding to a casting is beyond my expertise, dude. Now, could we figure out something for the cross member? Yeah, maybe. We could use the factory motor mounts and maybe drill some new holes in the cross member. Wouldn't necessarily be against that. That would probably be the cheapest way to do it. But that would require a lot of work. I'm wondering if there's there's a mount for a 350 out there. There's a part that basically we can buy. That's what I'm kind of getting at. I'm wondering if there's a part we can buy. Because, yes, that does cost money, but what you lose in cost, you make up for in time. This is on a time crunch because he has to go home. So...
Yes, there is.
What is this?
Those are solid mounts.
You do not want to solid mount this. You absolutely do not want to do that.
Okay.
No, you don't want a solid mount. That's race car stuff, dude. You want a bushing. This is a road vehicle after all. If you were making a full-blown race car, I'd say let's just weld it.
All right, so they do have poly bushings. Those are a little bit more expensive.
No. You're not thinking fourth dimensionally. Dude, hold on.
Yeah.
You're on Spawn Motorsports. That's fine. That's all fine and dandy. I'm talking about going and finding a motor mount from like a GMC Sierra from the 90s. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Solid mounts will rattle your teeth out.
Yes, you don't. Solid mount is race car application stuff. You do not want to do that. Same with poly. Poly bushings is for race car. That's a race car thing. Don't do that for a road car. That's not a good idea.
The only thing that I can really think to do that would get us where we need to be is to pull the old clamshells off and locate them properly on this, and then put the uppers back in the engine.
We could do that. That's the cheapest way of solving this problem.
That is. That would mean drilling into that cable, which again,
I can do that.
we can do that. I got no problem doing that.
The kit seems to be for an LS, dude. Have Ernock call Spawn for...
Tech advice. I mean, I could.
give me 1 sec. Let's see what we can see. All right, hang on. The subframe is not for an LS Cherokee, no. You can mount whatever to it. So that kit doesn't have the adapter for the motor? No, there probably is, but hang on.
That was actually why I was on Spawn Motorsports. See if they had different mounts.
Have Vernock look up his order and see what he ordered. Make sure he ordered the right thing and then go from there. All right, check it, buddy. I'm looking around to see if there's any rubber mounts. It looks like a 3-bolt does exist. There's a 3-bolt mount that absolutely exists. Now we just got to figure out what it's supposed to go to. Bingo. Compatible with the following vehicles. C1500 pickup, C20, 2500, C30, K20. All right, cool. Now.
Yep, that's exactly what I ordered. I ordered it with the LS brackets.
Okay, no problem. So on eBay, fellas, there's 3-bolt mounts, and like I said, it's to a truck. That's what I thought. The reason why is because you wouldn't find a car mount because they started switching all the cars to LS, LT1 and LS.
Yep.
So, but small block Chevys were in trucks for a long time into the 90s.
Yep. They continued with the small block well past that. They didn't put the LT in any trucks.
So, we're putting a stroker motor in, right? Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, sure.
Okay. So I'm going on the parts store thing. And the reason why I'm not showing you this, guys, is because Google is incessant about letting me know they know where I live. So, you know, even though I said don't track my location, they're like, oh.
Oh, but we're Kunkelman Chevrolet. We know where you live.
Yeah, something like that. How about a 327.3 on the tree? I don't know how that's going to help me at all, but yeah, that's cool. You were just thinking out loud? Yeah, it's all good, Frankie. I was just wondering if that had any bearing. I'm like, wait, what? Check under stores.
Oh. Oh, it's on the other side. Okay.
That's the O's we were at the other day.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's one. Now that we know that the motor mounts are different, will the correct motor mounts connect with the rest of the front suspension kit? Brun, that's a good point. So what I need you to do is get the measuring tape that I just dropped and probably broke. I need you to measure the distances. Take the LS bracket here. All right, look. Actually, we don't even need to do it. We know this bracket's for an LS, the 4-bolt one, and we know this is for a 350. So if I'm looking at this, oh boy.
It could be made to fit.
I gotta check something, Brun. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to see if these LS brackets, these ones here, will work. I'm pretty sure we could get it to work. I just want to see if this is an off-the-shelf thing.
Oh, I know what you're doing. I know what you're
I'm gonna take this LS bracket and try to see if it fits onto the factory bushings over there. If that's the case, then it should work.
I know what you're about to do.
Nope, LS is longer. Okay.
But what you could do is shim it.
Yeah, we could. Really love the hands-on streams, much appreciated. No problem, Frankie. And if we had a 327 solid lifter, I'm not sure about the 3 on the tree part, but that would cook pretty good in this thing.
327 solid? Yes, absolutely. That would frick.
No, drummer, not even close.
So the K member is correct. It's the mounts that I ordered with it that are not correct. The mounts that I ordered with it were for an LS. We're not putting an LS in here yet.
The mounts that he ordered were for an LS, guys. We're not putting an LS in just yet.
Those mounts are actually exactly the same. They did not change the mount points or the clamshells in almost 3 decades or longer.
I'm looking around. Yeah, Frankie, yeah, 91's a good body style. Yeah, absolutely. What I would suggest is getting on the phone right now and seeing if they can overnight you the right mounts. That's up to you.
I can get the phone. I'll go see if I can do that.
Anytime you're dealing with any type of modification, this is always something that can happen. Guys, Ernok's gonna make a phone call. Okay. Oh boy. Let me just check other things just to be sure. Do the brake screws fit in here? No, they don't. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, the easiest solution would be to drill the old mounts in. But the other thing is, fellas, is that the bushings are shot on those clamshells. The rubber moves around inside of the clamshell. I'm not sure that's the wisest decision. What about a plate the clamshells can bolt to on the small block Chevy? You're going to change your driveline geometry, albeit just a little bit, but you're going to change it that way. I don't really want to run into stuff like a problem like that, dude. I'm thinking. Let me think, dudes. Let me think. Yeah, the bushings here are moving around. They're moving around inside of the clamshell, and I'm pretty damn sure that's not what you want. If you can't get the mounts and you want to do that, can you get new rubber parts at the parts store? Yeah, of course we can. What do you think I was looking up? Actually, I was looking up 3-bolt applications, 3-bolt mount applications. But yeah. Engine rates would not change the drive line angle that much. Okay. Yeah, but I don't understand how. Okay, you guys are gonna need to clue me in on this one. So I make a plate that bolts this bolt design to this bolt design. How? Got to have spots for the bolts to bolt in, so that means you need clearance. So you either got to drill more holes, right, in this to clear the bolts, or you need to countersink them, right? Or don't, in which case you have more of a gap. So now we need a hole saw. I don't have any hole saws here. At least I don't think. And even if we did, I'm not saying it's not doable. I suppose you could do that, but the point is you're not raising this 1/4 of an inch. If we have to give reliefs for the bolts, you're raising it a 1/2 inch, probably even more. This is not as simple as, oh, just make a plate. Just make a plate, it'll be fine. No. The other thing that I'm taking into account is that there is a simpler solution than doing that. That is a solution, but there's more than one way to skin a cat, okay? We'll figure it out. I'm just weighing all the options. Look on Summit. Yeah. I know. You could see if there's a used Camaro. We were at a junkyard, the closest junkyard the other day, Frankie. There is a Camaro like this there, but it had been picked pretty clean. All right.
Where's the sheet for? At it?
Yeah. My opinion, order the mounts and move on. Yeah. Well, if that's the case, Geek, that's the end of this stream. Yeah, there's not much more we can do. Sorry, I got the fan blowing on me because it's getting hot in here. Let me turn on Twitch chat. What is that, Etta? Hold on. Hold on a second. So EJ, when are you opening the first live stream auto shop on Twitch? No, brother, there's no one else I can do. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, you're looking at one, dude. I'm sitting for a second, though, guys. Take my car over. It needs some help. All right. Damn, this is a predicament, isn't it? This is a pickle. What mounts do you have now? I want to look at them. Good ones. We have mounts for an LS motor, and we need a 30. We need mounts for a 305. The problem is that the bushing for small blocks. So Chevy's made over the last like 50 years. Chevy's made 2 different types of small blocks. There's the venerable small block Chevy, right? From 1957, I think, or something. I don't know. Whatever. They made it all the way to the 90s. They made the small block Chevy for 30 years. Now, in the early 90s, they started to replace it with an LS, which is an upgraded engine. LS motors are fantastic. They still make LS-derived motors today, right? Now, here's the thing. In this particular application, it very much seems like the motor mounts for a small block Chevy, the older one, have the rubber bushing on the cross member, and the motor mounts for an LS have the rubber bushing on the motor. They're flipped of each other. And we have motor mounts that have rubber bushings that's designed for an LS for motor mounts, and that does not bolt to our current motor. Time to hear you. Yeah. Yeah, so long story short, we have the wrong motor mount. So what I'm trying to do is figure out if we can hot rod what we have to work. I've been looking at aftermarket or factory motor mounts for different Chevy cars. There's got to be one application where we could. Does the lower mount pattern fit the cross member? No. Now, back, the easiest solution here would be to drill holes in the brand new cross member that match the holes on the old cross member. Just drill a set. But the problem is you might have some holes that overlap with the LS mounts, because we need the same geometry. We have to have the same steering geometry. Or not steering geometry, motor geometry. It's really important. Can you show me the pad on the K member for the mounts? Which cross member? There's no, it's just a flat plate, dude. All right, hold on. I want to see it. Murdoch's back.
So, here's what I found. You absolutely can drill into there and actually put the old mounts on there.
Okay.
What they caution you is that they're not sure if there's enough material to do it.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have holes that are overlapping.
Yeah, that's what they caution. You may have holes that overlap. You may not have enough material. You may need to add material. But you can absolutely do that. And in fact, that'll save you that when you want to go to LS, all you have to do is rip those clamshells off, put those mounts on, and go.
There's no way we're gonna get this right. That's
You have to buy the entire.
host for the day. That's shoot.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all right, dude. It's all right. It's okay. You didn't know. It's not a big deal. Unless you want to go find an LS engine in the junkyard,
I mean, there were plenty of them.
you'd have to pay for it. I
Yeah,
can't.
that's the thing.
And we'd have to start splicing wire harnesses, but
Yeah,
we could do it. Should bolt to the T5. I'm pretty sure LSs do that.
Yep. Oh, well, they're also saying intermittent line.
Yeah. All right. Great. Good. You suck ass. That'd be great.
Yeah, everybody, yeah. LS swap it, do it.
I mean, we were at the junkyard the other day. There's plenty of 5.3s. Just saying.
But yeah, that's basically what they're saying. They said you're more than welcome to do that. They just caution that you may not have enough material. And you may have to add material.
There's no return policy. You can't swap this for another cross member.
They would allow you to swap it for. Well, it would depend on how long I've had it, and I don't remember how long I've had that, so
Okay.
I'd have to call them again to verify that. But yeah, they absolutely do have a return policy, but I don't know what the return policy is. I don't know if it's 30 or 90 or however many days.
Okay.
is what Hellfish is saying.
Yeah, yeah, thanks for the update, pal. Like, thank you.
So here's what Spawn told me. Yes, the K members are similar, but they're not the same. What they do is the plate where the mount bolts to is different depending on your application. Most of the rest of it is the same. It's that plate that the mounts bolt to that's different.
Ah.
Yeah, you have to take measurements, and then you'd have to make sure that it's in the place where you need it to be. And then drill, baby, drill. Because even the instructions actually tell you. Even the instructions say. If installing on the factory frame, line the front 2 holes on the mount with the rear 2 holes in the frame. The 3rd hole must be drilled.
I still don't understand what that means. We have 1, 2, and 3. You have 1, 2, and 3 on yours. I don't get it. I don't know what they want me to drill, to be honest with you. I'm thinking, guys. Yeah, I mean, quickest and easiest way would be to just get a new set of motor mounts, locate them, and drill. But once again, if I'm looking at this right, it looks like this cross member, the mounting flange on this cross member is... Wait a minute. Doesn't Spawn have a mounting kit? Don't they have a mounting kit that's designed to work with their cross member in a small block? Not the plate, the mounting kit.
They do.
They do.
They have hard mounts.
Hard mounts. Why would they just have hard? That makes no sense. Why would someone do that? Why would?
So here's what chat is suggesting. The quote easiest thing to do is to have a new stock clamshell bolted to the 305 top and bottom, and then bring up the K member and see where the holes.
Yeah. I know. Use that to index the holes. I understand. What I'm telling you, if I'm looking at this right, fellas, this plate seems to be a lot lower than the factory cross member. Like if you look at, well,
you'd have to measure it.
Yeah, we'd have to. All right. And then I'm worried about holes overlapping. That definitely is a thing. They'll definitely overlap. Bring the factory one over to compare. Yeah, I mean, you got to undo that one from the cross member, dude.
You want me to just bring the cross member over? So that we can compare it direct, or you want me to just hold
You could bring the cross member over, just watch the strut bar. Yeah, go ahead. I mean, Nabek, there's a reason why they did that way. Just remember that. There's always a reason. There's a reason why they're two different cross members. Just keep that in mind. Forward, that way. Just, no, pull it towards you. There you go. That's fine.
Here's what they're saying. It would need to be around right here somewhere, based on where these are sitting. Probably need to be right here.
Oh, jeez.
So that's what they're saying about adding material here. See, this hangs forward.
Yeah. Yep. Hang on a second, fellas. I'm trying to give you a little bit of a better shot without me being in the way. Yeah, now back, there's your reason. That's why there's two different types of cross members, because the motor mount location is different. Like very different.
It's further back versus on a small block it's forward.
Yep. There's your reason.
That, and on an LS, the clamshells bolt to the block.
Yep. Yeah, we're really hosed. That's
Damn it.
plates like what chat was suggesting might work.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anything, guys, yeah, plates are gonna have to be what we're gonna do, but man, that's a long throw on the right-hand side. On the passenger side, that's a lot of that's a big plate. I mean, I could do it. Yeah. Like, when I was saying, like, I don't want to do that before, I was taking into account that the plates would be on top of each other, but if the mount locations are different, then you don't necessarily need to worry about countersinking bolts, except on the left side, but the position of the plate in gap is off. I'm not sure she will fit. Yeah, now back. If we don't get it done, we don't get it done. It's fine. I think that's just the fisheye lens, goalie, to be honest with you. It looks to be about right. Okay. Yeah, well, that pretty much dashed our hopes of getting this done.
Damn it. Well, here's what we can do. Since this isn't going to fit, we can put the old cross member back up and bolt what we have to the existing cross member.
What?
Put the K member back, and then take this.
You want to bolt all the QA1 stuff to that?
Yeah, it will fit. It's designed to fit. It's designed to fit in either one. But that means we have to put the K member.
Yeah, chat's not a fan of that. I mean, we could do it.
Because that would at least get it to be rolling again. That'll get it so that you don't get stuck with it in your shop after I leave. That's the only reason I'm suggesting. Because then you're not sitting around waiting for a different tubular K member, and then me not be here, and then you have to install it yourself while I'm not here.
That's not a big deal. That's not that big of a problem. LS1 to small block Chevy motor mount adapter plates. Yeah. Yeah, we got to get if we get those plates, we should be fine. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be against getting the adapter plates and rolling. That's not a big deal. Yeah, Hellfish, that would be the plate. We're not getting those at a yeah, but they need those plate the other way around. Oh, that's for bolting onto an LS engine. Yeah, that's not going to work, Hellfish. Those plates, those are for bolting an LS2. No, that's...
No. See, look at the picture again. So look at the picture again, not that. The other.
It's backwards, dude.
Hold on.
I'm telling you.
So, oh, I see. So this would be putting, yeah, we need it the other way around. Okay, so I see what it's doing. It would be adapting.
That's adapting small block Chevy mounts to an LS. Yes. We're trying to adapt LS mounts to a small block Chevy. We need the inverse of that plate.
Yeah. Yeah, we would need, yeah, what he said, the inverse.
They won't, the mic was off when Ernock didn't ask about the return policy. He asked about what we can do to fix it with what we have.
Yeah, Hellfish said, yeah, these are just to give you an idea of what you need.
Yeah. Yeah. Guys, when you were talking earlier, I thought you were talking about plate on the lower motor side mount and not the upper mount. The upper, yeah, that's not a bad idea. I wouldn't be necessarily against it. We have everything to index that. We just got to get some really tough steel. I'm thinking, and check chat, I'm thinking I don't know, quarter of an inch, quarter inch, right? And then go here, plate right there, and then, yeah, just find the 3 bolts for the small block. That's not the worst idea. We'd have to make room for the tab.
Or break the tab off.
Yeah. Now, if we're gonna fabricate our own component, we make it work with the factory engineering, dude. Yeah. We're gonna need to put this cross member in, and we gotta, loosely bolt everything, and then I think indexing everything, we use some cardboard aided design and go from there.
It does look like there's a 3-hole pattern.
What?
1, 2, and 3.
Those are nothing aligns, because LS motor mounts are a little bit longer. They're a little bit wider. Yeah, they're a little wider. Okay. Yeah. How thick do you guys think that plate needs to be?
How thick did you just say?
I'd said about a quarter inch.
At least a quarter. So, Hellness, what they had said was this. When they build these cross members, they build them with the idea that you're going to be putting a specific mount bracket on there. So the plate in which these mounting brackets mount to is custom designed and built based off of the engine that's going to sit on it. So, if you're going to use that, you have to order it correctly, or you have to redo that entire plate section. The old K-member steel would be thick enough.
I don't feel like cutting into that, do you?
Not really. But he does make a good point.
The K-member holes, the K-members are Swiss cheese, dude.
He said no less than a quarter.
That's what I was thinking, dude. Quarter inch. Quarter inch plate would be fine. I mean, yeah, I was worried that it would screw it up, but it's not.
No
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, I thought you guys were talking about K-member side, not motor side. Motor side, yeah. Shouldn't be, I mean, it shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Quarter inch would be fine.
I don't think that's going to screw up any pinion angles or anything, just moving the motor like that. I really think it'll be fine. The angle of the angle that the engine sits inside the car, in case anybody's wondering, is, yeah, you got to be careful with that. Because remember, in this type of rear-wheel drive car with a live axle, the whole driveline shifts when the rear suspension compresses. It moves forward. Got to make sure that you don't move it into a position where the U-joints on the drive shaft are going to bind. Okay. How thick are the mount plates on the K-member? They're a 1/4 inch, dude. The LS lower mount plate and the flange plate on the cross member are the same thickness. I'm looking at them. They're the same. Actually, yeah. The LS brackets are maybe a little bit thicker, but that could just be the paint. They look to be about the same. If anything, this might be a little bit thinner.
With driveline acceleration accelerator, rotate the nose of shift to the proper angle, you can create anti-squat.
You can create what?
Anti-squat.
Okay, so?
Yeah, what I ordered was 703 LSX. What I need is just part number 703.
Yeah, guys, I want to, I got to go. I mean, at the very least, we have to go get plate stock. Yeah, geek. Yeah, fellas, we gotta look. There's plenty of different ways to solve this problem. Some cheaper, some require more time. We just got to figure out what the right one is. I want to do that off stream, and then I'll get back to you guys. Okay? Yeah, that's it's something we got to think about for sure. It is what it is, bro. Don't beat yourself up. This happens a lot more than you think.
Yeah.
In the meantime, take the jack out from underneath that, and we'll put the jack stand up on the transmission again. Yeah, it's out there. Don't worry. It's just a difficult boss that we have to beat, dude. You know. But, you know, like with this, there's repercussions, right? So it's like playing Fallout or something. You know, your decisions will have repercussions down the road. Trying to make sure that, you know, say we put a plate in there, that it doesn't screw up other things. Or, you know, like what happens if we put the factory cross member back in and we start bolting the good stuff to it? Like, what are the repercussions there? The repercussions there is that he eats the cost on a $700 cross member. Don't want to do that either. There's just different ways that we have to figure this out, right? But yeah, thanks, man. It's just multiple ways to skin a cat, that's all. Easy fix. We'll figure it out. I'm not worried.
So just
All
let
right.
me know once you got the
All right, let the jack out.
jack is coming down.
All right. You're clear. Pull it.
Hold.
Now get over on the motor, the engine crane, and start jacking that up, please.
I think that's actually already under tension.
Yeah, I know. I want you to pick it up.
Going up.
All right, that's enough.
Okay.
Take it off tension, please.
All right. Let me just check it.
Okay.
I can probably let it down a little more. All right, we're off tension.
Good.
Yep, we're not in tension.
Okay. Yeah, nothing is held up with hydraulics right now, so that's good.
Yeah, we kind of need to whiteboard this.
Guys, I'll be real. I'm gonna do the plate. We'll do the plate. I just don't want to do it right now. That's gonna take the rest of the day to get that right, to be precise enough with the measurements, etc., etc. Don't have time for that today. We have plans the next couple of days. A lot of company coming over, party at my house, etc., etc., for family. Yeah, that's. Yeah. If we had the next 3 days, I'd just start making the plate right now. But we have plans in a couple of hours, so we got to go. Yeah, I'll probably make the offset plate, guys. I'll do it. I'll make it. It just won't be right now. It'll probably be during the weekend. Yeah, like I said, not too bad fabrication work. It's actually pretty easy. And I do have a welder. We do have the welder at my disposal, so if we have to do some welding, we have to do some stuff, we got to do some stuff. Not a problem. Really, it's not a big deal.
Well, as Uncle would say, that's hot rod.
Yep. Yep. Improvise, adapt, overcome. The problem is I just don't have the time to do that right now.
Yep. Out of time.
Ah.
That's the unfortunate part about doing all of this is we had a time frame, and that's going to take too long.
Me missing a deadline is par for the course, though, so
Yeah.
what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Motor's nice and solid. Yeah, there we go. All right, yeah, that's fine. Just leave that. All right, guys. Stand by for loss of signal from the garage as expected.
Well, that's not really how I wanted to end today. I wanted to end the day driving that car around. But, what are you gonna do? It happens. So, yeah, that sucks. Hey, that's once again, that is what it is. You know, you can't predict the future. It's like I was saying with the space program a little bit earlier. You can't predict the future. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know me. So, yeah, guys, I don't know when I'm going to make the plate, but I'll make it. It's not a big deal. That's easy. I am going to go to the hardware store now and get 1/4-inch steel. You don't want to check if they'll take this one back. Ernock eventually wants to put an LS in this car, all systems. So if that's what he eventually wants to do, the plate is a $30 solution. And it doesn't do that. You know what I mean? So the only worry I have is if the plates work with the rest of the K member. Will the rest of the K member fit with everything? I don't see why not. What do you mean? What do you mean? Will it fit with everything? Yeah, of course it will. What else do you mean, Geek? What else bolts to it? The suspension? Yeah, the suspension will bolt to it. So it's the lower control arm that bolts to the cross member. I already made sure that fit. Yeah. Will the plate mess up bolt alignment higher up? Not really. I'll measure it. Once again, like, it's not just taking a plate and drilling holes, right? I have to start marking distances between where the factory crossmember motor mounts are and where those would be in relation to the LS motor mount, right? And then, yeah, it might not be as easy as making a plate. You know, like you got to measure all the distances. You have to get it right. The reason why you want to mimic that so much is because, once again, you could screw something else up downstream. So I don't think at face value the plate would do much for the geometry, for driveline geometry. I'm pretty sure it won't. However, it's not just that. The LS mounts are in a different spot. I always thought that, and I don't know anything about Chevys, I always thought that LS and small block Chevys had the same mount. They clearly don't. The only other thing that bolts to the K member is the lower control arms and the brake lines. That's it. It has the provision, it has the tabs built into it for the brake line, so you can mount the brake line basically in the factory position. And then the lower control arms fit already. I already checked that. So yeah. Fit the old upper and lower motor mounts to the motor, bolt the new cross member up, and go from there. Basically, yeah, Bear Grylls, yeah, exactly. The thing is, I just don't have the time to do it today. Yeah, I don't have the time. We got plans at 5, so an hour and a half, I'd be done measuring, right? We'd be done measuring. Look, I'm slow. I take my time. I'm not doing this, you know, it's not an auto shop, not yet at least, you know, like. And this is not something I want to rush, you know, so yeah, not happening today. So here's the thing. I'm going to take the 4th, 5th, and 6th off. Yeah, Bear, thank you. Yeah. I appreciate the vote of confidence, guys. Yeah, once again, it's not that I can't do it. It's just that I can't do it right now. You look forward to the results. Yes. The rest of the build, I will keep you guys in tune as much as we can. But for now, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th off. I'm going to be back on Monday the 8th. That's when I'm going to be back. Yeah, I will probably, that's probably the first thing I'll do when I get back next week. Oh, except the NSF stream on the 5th. The 5th is my birthday, W, so probably not. Probably not doing that. I should probably tell them. I should probably go and tell them that.
Oh, it's nice and air conditioned.
Yeah. Summit Racing can ship a K member today, just saying. The 5th, that's your dad's birthday. Nice, Cherokee. So, Thailand help? How does that help us with the current cross member? How much are those K members from Summit? Like, happy birthday in advance. Thank you. Like, I get it. I understand, dude, for sure. But the whole point of this is to not have to buy another cross member. What I need you to do is look in to see if they do some type of return.
Yes.
See if we can do that.
Okay.
Because if we can get another cross member here by the weekend, yeah, you're going to have to fly out because you got to work, but I'll take care of it. That's not going to be too hard.
Okay. I'll look into that.
Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Well, we wanted to get this done like this, but don't worry about it. After we're done wrenching on the Camaro, I'm going to do some work on Bluefist. I have to rewire some things on that truck. And then, yeah, there's plenty of automotive content, but what I think we're going to do is, if I don't have another person here with me, we're not going to do wrenching streams all day. I'll probably wrench in the morning and then take a break and then come back at my normal start time and go from there. Yeah, Ital, you too. Have a great 4th. Great 4th. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm gonna, yeah, I'll see you guys on the 8th. Hopefully, little bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Thank you, everybody over on YouTube that watches. I appreciate it. Guys, I'm gonna be taking the next couple of days off, but I assure you, we're gonna be back in force on Monday. I'm thinking some Kerbal might be in the works. No reason. So, I'll see you guys on the 8th. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. And if I don't see you, have a great 4th. And if you're not in the United States, have a great Thursday. Or something. KSP2? What? That game doesn't exist. There was never a sequel made for KSP. I don't know what you're talking about. No, I'm playing Kerbal 1. I'm not playing KSP2. I'm not doing that. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. I'll see you guys on the 8th. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good holiday and a good rest of your day.